Hi, welcome back to the channel. Michelle and Tim. I'm going to be giving you a June homeschool update for my 12, 8, and 5-year-old. Now we school year round. Summer looks a little different. I will link up above my plans for summer and the schedule and all those videos I've already made. If you're looking for a link to a specific thing I refer to in this video, a specific curriculum or resource, it will be in that video already linked in the description box. So if you're looking for something, look there. But I thought it'd be nice to update how June went, and then I will do a video, of course, July, because we do a lot during that. Our workload is probably a little less, but we cover different areas that we normally don't cover during the school year. And there's also some time for review in our summer. So I'm going to flip you around, show you each kid's schedule, what they did, how far we've gotten, and my thoughts on what we've used so far. So I'm going to start with my 5-year-old son, and this is an example of his calendar. Now, we did not continue core knowledge through the summer. We did already start the next unit of it, so I'm waiting for the new school year before we continue it, and there's no need to continue that during the summer. We are continuing with all of our reading. That is going really well. He's really enjoying it. We're on lesson 12. Again, it's one of those, just a really slow process, but he really does enjoy doing the cards, so that is going well. He did finish his handwriting book, and because he does go for the code, I did not get him the next level. He will start the next level of handwriting without tears when he starts his next school year in August. So for this, he has finished A, B, he's currently on C and almost done with that. I will just continue on to the next level after that, but again, he really likes this too. I think it's good phonetic practice for him. Handwriting's in there as well. Another thing he does is math with confidence. We have continued this as well. It's gone really well. He is almost done with it, and he really likes it. He likes the hands-on approach. He likes the games. The workbook pages are simple, to the point, so that is going well with him. And the only other thing he is doing is he's practicing his name, his first and last name, writing that. I'm not going to show you the inside of this because I don't share my kids' names on my channel, but he's working on that, and he has mastered writing his first and last name, so that's really good. But as you can see, he's done everything that he's accomplished everything I wanted him to accomplish. We're moving forward. Again, his work probably takes 30 minutes max. Math with confidence, super easy lesson, demonstration, activity, game, workbook page, all about reading, going over the cards, doing the next lesson, go for the code. So it goes really quick. So taking 30 minutes out of his day is not a lot. So everything's going really well with him, and he does participate in some group subjects, but I will get to that after I cover everybody's schedule. So next will be my 8-year-old. So this is her schedule, and again, I just make this on Canva. It's a template. I just insert the information. So let's start with her. So math. She is doing 3A. She is about done with it, and we'll move on to 3B soon. Again, going really well. She hasn't really encountered anything that's been difficult at this point or that she's really struggled with. We've also started introducing multiplication facts. She's done really well with that. We did multiplication facts that stick, did really well with that. So it's just continuing on of what we do throughout the school year. So next would be Spanish. So she's continuing to do Song School Spanish. And again, we only do this twice a week during the summer. And the first one is introducing the vocabulary and making flashcards and doing one of the in the page activities in here. And then the second part of the week, we usually do, it's in the teacher guide, a specific activity, and again, go over those flashcards. So again, this is going really well. We've gotten towards the end, and obviously you can see this is a lot of vocab, so I'll probably split that into 2 weeks. That's why it takes us longer to get through this. And I make copies of this. I don't actually have her write in the book, so I can use it for the next child if need be. But again, she really enjoys Spanish. That's something she wants to do, so we continue with that. Michael Clay Thompson, that's something she's working on through this summer. So she's continuing her sentence analysis, and again, that's just, she's given again, she's given specific sentences and she has to write down the parts of speech, if it's simple sentence, complex sentence, that kind of thing. So she does that every single week. And so far, I have the schedule in here because I have 2 kids doing Michael Clay Thompson. So yeah, she's finished Grammar Island. We've done building language. We are still working through building language. This is where we are right now. And she's continuing to work through sentence analysis. So that's kind of where we are right now. She's working through this every week. And we are also doing a sentence analysis every week. Handwriting, she did finish up her handwriting book from this past school year. So I am not, just like my 5-year-old, I'm not going to get the next book until the school year starts. She does plenty of handwriting within her own work now that I don't think we need to continue it through summer, when we will just pick up the next book of this during the school year. She's continuing All About Reading 4, so you can see there's a lot of continuation from our school year just into summer. She is going through this, and again, it's going well. I do think there's a lot of benefits to completing all 4 levels of All About Reading. I did not have my oldest complete all 4 levels, and I'm starting to see kind of the negative effects of that in things like spelling and writing. That now that my 8-year-old is doing this, I see a lot more improvement, and I think things like spelling is going to be a lot easier for her down the road. That is something she will formally start next year. School year is spelling, but again, it's going really well. She can fluently read. She chooses to read every single night. So this is just working on the skills she has, practicing. Repetitive practice is really important, fluency, all those things. So that's going really well. You can see that's kind of all she has. The only other thing that's individual to her that is not with my other kids is she does gymnastics once a week as well. But you can see this is not too much for her. She probably, an hour and a half, maybe 2 tops. But she gets up, does her work, not an issue. Everything's gone really well for June for her. I will get into financial literacy because that's kind of our group specialized subject for summer for June after I finish my oldest. So my oldest, my 12-year-old, math. She's continuing along with Dimensions Math. She's literally in the last chapter of it, so I will have to get 6 going here soon. Again, it's going well. We continue using that, and math is something we continue always during the summer because those skills are hard to learn, so we need to keep them. One thing I did add for her is some math review sheets. So the kids were math tested at the end of the year, my 2 oldest, and my 8-year-old scored above and everything, doing awesome. She has no practice sheets for her because there's nothing she didn't do well in that she needs to practice. Now with my oldest, I noticed on her map testing there were certain areas she missed. And some of it, just we haven't covered it yet because she's tested as a 6th grader while she's doing Dimensions 5. But there are concepts I noticed that she got wrong. And it will tell you in your map test report they tended to get this type of problem wrong. And if you click on those little links in that map test, it will give you examples of those problems, worksheets. And you get a certain number of them free, and then you can sign up and subscribe to get all the worksheets. I will just take the concept that was missed or what they highlighted that she had trouble with, and I will go on Teachers Pay Teachers, things like that, and find things for her to practice those skills, something she just needed to work a little more on. She will do that, or she does that 3 times a week, and that will continue into June as well, just to practice those concepts she either forgot or missed or just needs some review on. So that's what that means. She picks what 3 days she does that. That's up to her. Next will be Watership. So we are doing a Hearth and Story novel study, and I have to say I've been really impressed with this. I know people are iffy with it. It seems really short. It doesn't seem like a lot. The price is, cheap. But I've been thoroughly impressed with this. So this is the book we got. And again, it can be a harder read. It's, bunny massacres, talking about societal systems, that type of thing. My daughter has absolutely no issues with that. We talk about real history, real events in this house. So that was not jarring or upsetting to her, and she loves bunnies. So she understands how the author is using the bunny families as kind of a way of explaining how things are going on in the world, so she gets it. I really like the questions in here. I like that there's a wide array. It's not just comprehension questions. They are questions in here where they have to cite text evidence, so give the text evidence to support theirs. Again, I think Mom Librarian mentioned this. I wish there was more room to write things. I think it kind of encourages kids to not write full sentences because there's not enough room. But I really enjoyed this, and I think it's really helped her grow. So I do like the Hearth and Story novel studies. So some things she had to finish up from the school year was vocabulary. Again, she's almost done with this. And that's mainly because she went from doing like 2 pages a day to just doing a section, which is completely fine. I told her if she wanted to do that during the school year, that means this would carry over to summer, which she was completely fine with. So she does a small, little section of it once a week, and we're getting through that. Another thing she had to finish up is health. This was the last book I had planned for this past school year, and we just have 1 chapter left in it. And again, it's nothing complicated. We just go through, she reads the chapter individually. We come together afterwards, discuss the things talked about in the chapter. If she has any questions, we'll draw out questions I think are important for us to talk about. So these are just leftovers from the end of the year. All right, she's also doing Michael Clay Thompson. So again, just like my oldest, just like my middle child, I have a schedule on here for my oldest. So she is doing the sentence analysis once a week, just like my 8-year-old is doing, and we are working our way through Paragraph Town. And again, a lot of these concepts have been touched upon in Lightning Literature or IEW she's done, but this is taking it from a different angle, and it's a good review, I think, because this is not the first time the concept has been introduced to her, but it's coming from a different angle, and it's making her think about it from a different point of view, which is exactly what I want, and I do think it's really beneficial, and I think continued sentence analysis is really beneficial as well. So she does that once a week. Race, again, I talked about that in the video. One of the things I've noticed about her, especially in Lightning Literature, for her questions, she gets 1-word answers. I'm trying to get her to use complete sentences and to fully answer the question correctly. So we're using the race strategy, and I bought the bundle, and it tells you how to kind of give correct answers, but completely answer the question. So giving the quotations that support what you're saying. So she's been working on that. Again, she will just do it 2 times, and that just means she'll do 1, 2. But this has greatly improved her answering her questions, and I want her to get into the habit of that, because with language arts, she's getting to a higher level where it's more than just a sentence answer. So that's been going well. She continues horseback riding. That's her activity. She does that once a week. Fanatic Zoo, we are continuing with that. We are just moving along. Again, I talked about, I think in my end of the year video, how I've tweaked it. Don't use the audio. I am the audio now, and I go through and explain the rule and why it is that way, and then we use the lists. But again, it's going well. So the only other thing she's doing independently is Japanese. So we have started that this summer. So we are using Japanese from Zero. This is the textbook, workbook, but also we are using the online platform as well. They have on their website, you can sign up. We pay, I think, $9 a month, and it has the video lessons, it has the quizzes, it has flashcards, and it's actually really, I think the graphics are great on it. So she's using that, but I also bought the book off Thrift Books because I wanted her to follow along a physical copy of it, because Japanese is a lot. It's not a lot I know about. We've done the first few lessons together, and she's really enjoying it, and she also uses Duolingo throughout the week just to help it, but she's really enjoying this so far, and it's going really well, so this is something we will continue into July as well. But I think the summer is a great time to test out different curriculum. This is something that she said she was interested in, learning Japanese, so I know she will need a world language for middle school and high school, so this was a great opportunity to test it out, see how it fit, and she really did enjoy it. She also does Horse Book Club. So her riding instructor is a former public school teacher for 30 odd years. So something she does during the summer is she has book clubs in different ages. So my daughter's in the 12 to 13-year-old age. She meets with a group of girls and the riding instructor. They read a book together and then they do various activities with the horses or learning more about it. So she does that once a week for an hour and a half. But again, this might seem like a lot for summer, especially since we brought some things over from the school year. She gets done, I'm not kidding, in an hour to an hour and a half. She gets up, has breakfast, the kid's done by 9:30. Like, she is in a routine, she's very disciplined, and a lot of that comes, yes, from her personality, but also from the fact that, you know, going on homeschooled the last 4 years, she knows exactly what's expected of her. She knows that if she gets her work done, she has the entire day free, so it is possible to get the work done and still have a lot of fun and free time. So that's been going real well. So last thing I want to talk about is 2 things we did in June as extras. One thing we brought over was art, which is not on here, but we did art as well once a week. So we have done art all this past school year once a week, and we are continuing art through summer. I'm really impressed with just how much art we've gotten accomplished. And again, I got these off thrift books, really cheap. I have the teacher guide as well, but it gives you a simple introduction. So we're learning about stories right now. We learn about kind of the history, and then we do a activity. So they had to create a visual autobiography. So I think I have an example here. Yes. Of that. So they just cut out magazine clippings, but I'll show you some of the other things we did. So we did some still life, looking at different textures. One fun thing we did was we were looking at cartoons, and something we've definitely covered in history, specifically core knowledge, United States history, looked at political cartoons. So they had an opportunity to make their own political cartoon. And then they got to storyboards. We talked about how different things were recorded through history, paintings, documentaries, photographs. And for their activity, they got to make a storyboard. So my 8-year-old made a storyboard for making a documentary on celiac disease. If you're unaware, she has celiac disease, and she wanted to create a documentary to educate people more about it. So this is her storyboard. Another still life and watercoloring. And I believe this was just motion, capturing motion in drawing. So you can see, really simple lessons, but the kids have really enjoyed it so much that we've continued it through the summer. So I really highly recommend these for the middle school years. The other thing we did was financial literacy, which is something we cover every single summer. I think learning how to use money, how to spend money is a really important skill. So we used Money Smart, and I used a combination of 3rd through 5th and 6th through 8th, but I'll just quickly show you the lessons we did. So what I did is I knew we had, I think, 8 weeks, or yeah, 8. So we had 4 weeks in June to cover. We did financial literacy twice a week. That means I could do a lesson it means I could do 2 lessons a week, which gives me 8 lessons. So these are the lessons I chose to do. They are not in order of each other. I went through and picked out which ones I thought would be beneficial and things we haven't already covered yet. So the first one was budgeting, which was really, I think, important for kids to learn. This is not a new concept for my kids. It's something we've covered in previous years. They've made their own budgets. They've also seen me do our household budget. So I really liked how this introduced, how much is $10,000, giving kids an idea of what the value of money is, because it's really easy to swipe the card or buy the thing at the store and not really think how much time and effort you have to work in order to buy that thing. So I like that all the handouts are included, all the discussion questions. These are just the kind of overview teacher guide for them. I do have all the printouts and everything, but I'm not going to take that out. That's a little too much effort. So the next lesson we did was saving your money. So how do banks work? Saving for emergency situations, real life emergency. So again, learning those skills. And one of the fun things, I think it was in this one, They do have different extra links or activities you can do. One of them was a game on the computer where you had to travel from one destination to another, and you had a specific budget, and you had to have medicine, you had to have food, you had to have money for car repairs, and you had to see if you can get to your destination before you went broke. So I think that was one, fun, and two, really important for kids to realize how far money will go. Which way to pay? So we talked about credit, debit, the issues with using credit and debit. There's a lot of story problems included in here, because again, it's easy just to swipe that card and not think about it. We looked at investing, how to invest your money, different types of investing, what's inflation, which again is something we've talked about in our social justice and what's going on in the world. So they are familiar with that as well. One of the things I really want to talk about was charitable giving. So what's a profit? Fundraising ideas, why it's important to include charitable giving in our budgets, because that is something that's important to my family. Career choices, so we did an entire section of figuring out their future career, something they're interested in, but diving deeper. What kind of education does that require? They had to research a specific career they are interested in. What are the requirements, the degree requirements, educational requirements? What is the pay outlook in the future? Would they be able to sustain themselves or a family with that income? So that was really fun. And there was even a assessment in here that they marked which areas they were interested in, and it gives you suggestions on what career choices might be good for you. But it was good for them to research the different things, because things like artist or actor or teacher, all these things can sound cool on paper, but when you get into the nitty-gritties, that's something you actually are interested in. If you want to be a veterinarian, are you willing to go to school that long? Are you willing to, looking at the cost of college and student loans? So some forward thinking I think is really important, especially in the middle school years. As my daughter is getting older, she needs to kind of start looking towards the future. Next one we did was taxes. So we looked at income tax, and it was cool because they included a pay stub. And we looked at, based on their career choices here, what's their income tax bracket. So we looked at what their actual take-home pay would be after all the deductions and withholdings are made, which I think is really important, because I think kids think, you go to a job, say you're working part-time, 20 hours a week, you're at minimum wage. What is your actual take-home pay going to be after deductions? Then what are you going to be paying into taxes? So again, real life skills. All this was completely free, did not take long, and I think it's really good life skills they're learning here. So that is everything for June. So as you can see, we've covered a lot so far in June, and it might seem like a lot, but again, we're maybe spending an hour, hour and a half on school every day. My kids are just so used to routine and the flow of our day that they get up, they get their work done, and then they spend the rest of the day doing whatever they want. No one's complained, I don't have to push anyone, and I think they're doing things that they enjoy as well. Japanese, learning about financial literacy, playing the games. I think summer is a great time, like I said, to do some review work, to try some new things that maybe you're considering for the new school year, to freshen up some of those skills, continue to do fun things like art or world languages. Those are all interesting things to do, and we get it done in a really reasonable amount of time that we're not spending our entire summer schooling, but I do think it is beneficial to bring it over into the school year as well. So that is how June went. I will make a video talking about how July went when we finish July. So if you have any specific questions about what I talked about here or how June has gone, let me know in the comments down below. If not, thank you for watching.